Hey, sports card collectors and investors. Hope everybody is having a good day so far. I just got a fresh cut, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. It's been a little while thanks to all the COVID stuff, but I'm happy to see that my barber is back in the game, and able to work again. So we're back in it. So I'm happy for him, and hopefully we see kind of an upswing in these sorts of things. Some good news, hopefully, coming. There's been just a lot of not so great news recently, and so. We'll see where it goes. But anyway, today I've got 3 sports cards that I am taking a hard look at this week. Just some intriguing things, trends that I've been seeing, and then I thought it would be a good idea to share with you all. And I'll just go ahead and dive right into it. This won't be a super long video. I'll just go ahead and get it. So the first card that I'm looking at, and I have been watching this card for a while, and even though it has a fairly high print run, this is a Project 2020 card. It's the Mike Trout number 51 Ben Baller card. And I did buy one of these at $55 maybe 2 weeks ago, 10 days, 2 weeks ago. And now I'm looking, and I actually, in an auction, so there was one that sold for $30 yesterday or the day before, but I had put in, of course, this always happens, but I put in a bid at $29 and I got beat out at $30. So, but that just shows you, and I'm not upset that I paid $55 a couple weeks ago. I mean, I still think that they, are good cards that have upward mobility potential. I mean, the card at one point was $200. So the fact that, there's no question where it can go. Maybe that will have been the ceiling for this card, or maybe that is the ceiling. Maybe it's not. We don't really know. We'll have to get kind of deeper into the set to really have a good idea. But those cards now, I mean, they're right in the $35 to $40 range. And that's what I was thinking. I mean, if I could get it for under $30 or even at $30 or maybe even $31, $32. I mean, the card retails at $19, $20. So, at that point, I do think that just with Ben Baller's popularity, even though that particular card had a print run, I believe at 35,000 or 33,000, it's got a significant print run for sure. But I do think there are a lot of collectors out there that are going to want that one. It's in the top. Those first 80 cards are going to be the ones that everyone really wants as far as kind of those lower print runs. Granted, I know this one doesn't have a low print run, but it's still going to be one that people want, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of collectors that aren't going to sell that card. So, at $30, $40, $50, I still think that there's some good value there for that card, and so that's what I'm looking at, especially with the price, especially since I just paid $55, and now they're almost half of that at $30, $32. So. Yeah, I'm taking I'm keeping an eye on that one, and that goes, I think, for a lot of the Project 2020 cards. I mean, especially these cards. I watch other content creators. There's some really good ones out there covering it, and they're tracking kind of those first 20, 50 cards, and prices just keep on coming down on those, and it reaches a point where we're all kind of wondering, like, where's the bottom for it? But man, for those print runs that are in the the $1,500 to $2,500 range, if those drop under $100. I'm pretty much game for any of those, if that does happen. So there are some that are still very expensive, but let's just, we'll see where it goes. I don't think this set is just going to bottom out where all the cards are worth $20 again, or selling for $20 again. I just don't see that. I think that it's going to be a set that is highly collectible and valued over time. I think just because of just the way that it's the way that it's come out. I think that the way that it accelerated so quickly on the secondary market. I think that there's, if we're looking at market cap, in a matter of 2 months, I don't think there's been a card set that's accelerated like that, maybe ever, in sports cards. So I think that even just that alone is going to give it a reputation. We'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe all this stuff bottoms out. I certainly don't know, but it's an intriguing set for me, and it's one that I'm keeping an eye on. And so that's my first pick, is that Trout Ben Baller card. With it just being Trout and Ben Baller, it's basically the two arguably the most popular player, most popular artist in the whole set. I'm looking at that one. So we'll see what happens. Next up, kind of this forgotten, he's not forgotten, I shouldn't say he's forgotten, but just with NFL playoffs coming up and a lot of the other players and teams, getting involved, the excitement around it, Trey Young with the Hawks. His Optic PSA 10 There's been a couple of sales here in the last week that were right at $135, $137. That's a card that I'm watching very closely. I would say my sweet spot on that card is anywhere between maybe 100 and 115 if they go down that much. They might never get down that low. But if they do, that's one that I'm just watching over the next few weeks, because the Hawks were not one of the 22 teams that were invited to play. So, you know, there's going to be a lot of excitement around the Jason Tatums and the LeBron James and the Anthony Davises and the Maverick, you know, the Lucas and the Porzingis Mavericks players. There's going to be a lot of hype around all of those, you know, players and everything that's going on with basketball. You know, I just have to assume that Trey Young is going to be one of those guys that's kind of forgotten in that mix, you know, because he's not playing. He's not out there. And, you know, I feel like a lot of us are going to be kind of zeroed in on who's playing. And I'm really curious to see what happens with his cards, and not even just that card, but his cards in general. I'm going to be looking for values for Trey Young, just because you could almost treat it like an off season. Or the start of the offseason in a way, and I think there will be values there, just because I felt like he was already a little bit underpriced, and now just with everything going on, I'm going to be taking a hard look at Trey Young cards over the next 60 days, and I certainly am right now. All right, last but not least, I've got kind of an unorthodox pick here, and this is my kind of mad science brain working, and you tell me what you think. Actually, make sure you comment below. I know not everyone that watches this collects and invests in football cards, but this is a football pick, and I'm going to explain kind of my reasoning behind this. This is 2016 Optic football is what I'm looking at, and so for those that do follow football cards, you might be aware that Tom Brady's the Optic Hollow Raw, okay, not even graded, has been selling anywhere from $120 as much as $300 over the last 2 weeks. About two and a half weeks ago, one sold for $300, and there's been many in that $200, $250 range. They have kind of come down a little bit, but the point of the matter is that and that's for a raw card. That's not for a graded card. That's for a raw Optic Hollow Tom Brady. Now that's first year Optic for both football and for basketball, and so, you know, with Tom being the GOAT, prices have kind of soared on that one a little bit. So my thinking is, what about the other veteran Hall of Fame quarterbacks? And I'm being a little bit of a homer here. Drew Brees is among this group of people. You know, I'm looking at, so the cards that I'm looking at, just with Tom Brady's prices being like that, are Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger is the completely forgotten guy. No one is thinking about Ben Roethlisberger. He hurt his elbow. He hasn't played in a year. Nobody is talking about this guy, and for good reason. I mean, there's plenty of other quarterbacks that there's, you know, excitement around. Ben hasn't played in a while. His team kind of suffered a little bit last year. They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. That, you know, that they've kind of all left between AB and Le'Veon Bell. And so, you know, the Steelers are kind of that under the radar team. No one's really talking about them. Look at, even in their own division, you've got the Browns, excitement, Baker Mayfield, new offensive line, Ravens, Lamar Jackson, reigning MVP. Even the Bengals have Joe Burrow now. They have the #1 overall pick, and who knows what that means. So there's excitement around the Bengals. You know, and so the Steelers are kind of that forgotten team in the AFC North. It's really, it's weird because, I mean, outside of last year, and I'm not sure, I think that last year might have been their first losing record in like 15 years, or maybe they didn't even have a losing record. Maybe they were 8-8, 9-7. Anyway, you know, the point is these guys are not being talked about. Roethlisberger is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's won 2 championships. He's going to the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt in my mind. Maybe some of you would disagree, but I feel pretty good that he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Rodgers is going to go in the Hall of Fame. Another guy that Packers drafted a quarterback, so Rodgers kind of on that back burner. You're not going to believe how much these cards are. So Tom Brady is in that $120 to $300 range. Drew Brees is in the $15 to $22 range. Aaron Rodgers, $15 range. Roethlisberger, Optic Hollows, $5 to $10 raw. These are all raw cards, but keep in mind Tom Brady's was raw too, going for $120 to $300. So Tom Brady is 10 to 15 times the cost of these other 3 guys who are future Hall of Famers. This is first year Optic. I mean, when I was looking at the comps on this, I was thinking like, holy smokes, I just couldn't believe the pricing. So I'm looking hard at those. Those are ones where I feel like there could be some value there just based on that. Now, some of you will say, hey, that's an outlier. Tom Brady's the GOAT, and so he's getting the love there. Those other guys, they're not going to get the love. And who knows, maybe there's other quarterbacks you think might be worth a look too that you're high on. Matthew Stafford, other veteran, QBs that are out there that you think, could be worth a look in that 2016 set, and that's perfectly fine with me. I know once you get into kind of the rookies, pricing goes up from there, but there are a lot of, there's a lot of new quarterbacks in the league. When you actually look at, which QBs are kind of those aging Hall of Fame guys, we're kind of dwindling down now. And to me, those three that kind of stuck out were Breeze, Rodgers, Roethlisberger. So to me, those are targets. I'm going to keep my eye on those guys. We'll see what happens with those. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Please, if you have not subscribed, I put out videos every single day. We've got more than 100 videos now at this point. So we're rolling along. We're a well-oiled machine at this point. And also, if there's different topics that you would like me to talk about, I'm really interested in hearing about different subjects you'd like me to cover. I'm always open, anything that's sports card investing related, and also just related about personal finance and collectibles investing. I am going to start branching out a little bit and doing more of just general collectibles investing and personal finance stuff. I'll mix those into all of these videos that I'm doing. And so, yeah, thank you very much for stopping by. I've enjoyed it, and we will see you again next time. Take care.